Uncharted 2 Amongst Thieves takes place 2 years after the events of Uncharted Drake's Fortune. The narrative opens with a quote attributed to Marco Polo. "I did not tell half of what I saw, for I knew I would not be believed." The story begins in the middle with a wounded Nathan Drake, waking up to find himself in a train hanging off a cliff with a bloody stomach wound. Through flashbacks, it is revealed that the former associate, Harry Flynn, and old girlfriend Chloe Fraser approached him with a job to steal a Mongolian oil lamp from an Istanbul museum. Nate accepts the job when he learns that the lamp may lead to the treasure of Marco Polo's lost fleet. The plot revolves around the doomed voyage home of Marco Polo from China in 1292. After spending almost 20 years in the court of the Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan, Marco Polo departed with 14 ships and over 600 passengers. But when he arrived in Persia a year and a half later, only 1 ship and 18 passengers remained. Polo never revealed what happened to the lost ships. Harry and Flynn acquired the lamp, which contains a map showing the lost fleet had been transporting the Chintamani stone from the mythical city of Shambhala, better known as Shangri-La, before being thrown ashore in Borneo by a tsunami. Taking the map, Flynn double-crosses Drake, who is arrested and in prison for 3 months. Chloe, who claims to have had no knowledge of Flynn's treachery, asks for the help of Drake's friend Sully to secure his release. Nate and Sully follow Flynn and his boss Zoran Lazarevich, a Siberian war criminal who is widely thought to be dead, to Borneo. With the help of Chloe, working within Lazarevich's camp as a mole, they discover that the lost fleet never actually possessed the Chintamani stone. They locate a tomb containing the bodies of Polo's passengers, as well as the Tibetan Purba, and a letter from Polo saying that the next clue is in Nepal in a temple. Flynn and his men appear in the tomb soon after and take the letter, while Nate and Sully escape by jumping off a cliff into a river. While Sullivan backs out, deciding that the quest is too risky, Nate and Chloe head to Nepal, finding conflict as Lazarevich's mercenary army ravages the city looking for the right temple. After surmising that the temple they are looking for is adorned with one of the symbols on the Purba, the couple survey the area from the rooftop of a local hotel, finding its location. En route to the temple, the pair runs into Elena Fisher and her cameraman Jeff, who are tracking down Lazarevich to prove he is still alive. The four reach the temple, but Elena is still worried about the fact that nothing adds up. Lazarevich is not in need of money. Nate and Chloe leave them anyway, and discover that the stone and Shambhala are in the Himalayas. As they are about to leave, they are ambushed, and Nate runs out to help Elena and Jeff, who are left at the temple entrance, to discover Jeff has been shot by one of Lazarevich's men. Despite Chloe's insistence to leave Jeff behind, Elena and Nate insist on helping him, and they push on until they are caught. Chloe reluctantly pulls her gun on Nate to protect her cover, while Lazarevich executes Jeff. While Lazarevich and Chloe leave for the train yard, Flynn is told to kill Nate and Elena. Elena punches Flynn when he tries to get her up, and the couple manages to escape. Elena is skeptical about helping Chloe, but ultimately decides to help Nate when his mind is resolved. Together they plan to catch up with Lazarevich's train on a stolen jeep driven by Elena. Nate is pushed by her on board the train and has to fight a bunch of soldiers, survive an attack from a helicopter twice, and fights Lieutenant Darza, who has possession of the Purba dagger. Drake eventually gets the dagger back after an intense fight. Darza regains consciousness and attempts to kill Drake, only to be killed by Chloe. But Chloe, who is upset about Nate having taken Elena and Jeff along earlier, refuses to leave with him. As the two argue, Flynn arrives and shoots Nate in the abdomen. Chloe then jumps in front of Flynn, giving Nate a chance to run. With Flynn distracted, soldiers pursue Drake until he is cornered. With no other option, Nate shoots a pile of propane tanks, killing Flynn's men and sending Nate's half of the train over a steep cliff. Returning to where the game began, Nate escapes the train and travels through a snowstorm, recovering the Purba among the wreckage before falling unconscious. He awakens in a Tibetan village, where he is reunited with Elena and introduced to a German man named Karl Schaefer. Schaefer tells Nate that the Purba is the key to finding Shambhala, but Nate tells him he is no longer interested. To convince him otherwise, Schaefer sends Nate and the village leader Tenzin to find the remains of the men in his expedition, who are looking for Shambhala and the stone 70 years earlier. Traveling through a series of caves to an ancient temple filled with Yeti-like creatures, Nate and Tenzin discover that Schaefer's men were SS members on an expedition and that he had killed them to protect the world from the power of the stone. They return to find Lazarevich's men attacking the village, Elena telling Nate that they are the reason for it. Tenzin and Nate go to fight the village, facing a tank in the process. After securing the village, Nate and Elena find out that Schaefer has been kidnapped, along with the Purba. They then track and fight Lazarevich's convoy to an abandoned monastery, getting blown off the edge of a cliff in the attempt, but they eventually gain entrance via the mountains and infiltrate it. The couple locate a mortally wounded Schaefer, who tells Nate he must destroy the Chintamani stone. Schaefer then succumbs to his wounds and dies. Nate then tells Elena that he is going to continue his search. Elena then says that she and Nate should split up to find the secret entrance to Shambhala faster, which he agrees to. Eventually, Nate locates Chloe, who surrenders the Purba after he promises to take Lazarevich down. Nate and Elena reunite and beat Lazarevich using the Purba to unlock the secret passage to Shambhala underneath the monastery. But Lazarevich corners them and forces Nate to choose out of Elena or Chloe, whose cover has been blown by Flynn. Nate agrees to his demands and is forced to go with Flynn to open the gate when it runs into troubles. When the gate opens, the group is attacked by the monsters from the ice caves, but Lazarevich manages to kill them. It is then revealed that they are actually human guardians of Shambhala, powered by the Chintamani stone, and dressed like monsters to scare off anyone who trespasses in the city. Just as Lazarevich prepares to kill Elena and Nate, Chloe protected by Flynn, another wave of guardians attacks, which allows them and Chloe to escape. Making their way to the top of the central temple, Nate discovers that the Chintamani stone is in fact a giant amber petrified blue resin embedded in a giant prehistoric tree of life. The true worth of Shambhala is the blue sap of the tree, which when ingested makes the drinker nearly invincible. As they prepare to go after Lazarevich, a wounded Flynn arrives and detonates a grenade, killing himself and seriously wounding Elena. Nate leaves Elena in Chloe's care and sets off to confront Lazarevich at the tree. Nate arrives just as Lazarevich drinks the tree's sap, which renders him nearly indestructible and heals his old wounds and scars. Detonating the pockets of explosive resin in the tree with his weapons, Nate defeats Lazarevich and leaves him to be brutally beaten and killed by the Guardians. Nate reunites with Chloe and Elena, and they escape the city as a series of explosions begins and destroys Shambhala. Nate sets Elena down when they get out of Shangri-La, but the signs don't look promising. Nate begs Elena not to leave him as it fades out. Back in the village, Chloe asks Nate if he loves Elena, which he does not deny. Chloe bids Nate goodbye as Sully leads a recovering Elena over to him. While Sully chases after Chloe, Elena and Nate pay their respects to Schaefer's grave before embracing. They share a kiss, and together, they walk over to the edge of a cliff and watch the sunset behind the mountains.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scared were you that I was gonna die?
4.
4?
Yeah, why?
A 4.
Yeah.
You were at least an 8.
An 8?
You were a total 8.
An 8? Those guardian things were an 8.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, those were terrifying.
What's a 10?
Clowns?
Clowns over my death?
I hate
Clowns?
clowns. I hate clowns.
Oh my word. You thought I was dead.
No.
No, you thought I was gone.
No,
Yes,
no.
you did.
No,
I
I
saw
had you all
shed
along.
tears. You shed a bunch of them.
Tears?
Mhm.
It was raining.
No, it was not.
You were unconscious and it was
It
raining.
was totally sunny out and you were bawling.
It wasn't sunny. You were unconscious.
Whatever. I kept your tears in a jar. I have proof.
I'll give you 5. How's that?